Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Nate here. And Skyrim is a game that's constantly putting players up against foes that can get on our nerves. From offensive tavern goers who think they can take us in a brawl, to insane jesters that drive us crazy, The Elder Scrolls V provides us with no shortage of irritating NPCs to confront. And good or bad, some of the most frequent offenders are Tamriel's children. As horrible as it sounds, some of Skyrim's most enraging and disrespectful characters come in tiny sizes. Despite being the Dragonborn, savior of worlds, an accomplished commander in the Civil War, and the leader of seemingly more factions than I have fingers on my right hand, you'd be lucky to find many of the game's mini-humans treating you, or anyone else for that matter, with the slightest ounce of dignity. So, why not spend our day profiling some of the most egregious offenders, as we take a look at the top 5 most annoying children in The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Oh, where do we begin? Bret. Bret's a good person to start this video with. She's a Redguard girl living in Whiterun. A quick chat with her will immediately reveal that she's not exactly a delightful individual. She treats the Dovahkiin, and everyone else really, with considerable disdain and contempt, saying things like, "What are you looking at?" and "Boys, girls, dogs, elders, there's nobody I won't fight."
Boys, girls, dogs, elders, there's nobody I won't fight.
Apparently, this child has no problem attacking animals, so clearly this is a feisty little Yokuden. But, as you're probably aware, it goes much further. She's also the tormentor of a young boy named Lars Battleborn, who she secretly likes, but we'll get to that in a bit. And Bret can frequently be found bullying the poor kid. If you speak to the Battleborn boy about his problems, he'll explain that he doesn't know how to stand up for himself, and will ask you to try and convince Bret to just leave him alone, kickstarting a short quest where you simply speak to the girl and convince her to knock off the behavior, either by threatening her or telling her that Lars has a contagious disease. In gratitude, when you inform the young Battleborn that he'll be left alone now, he'll give you a whopping 2 gold pieces. But frankly, I don't know what we were expecting from a child. I digress. Despite Bret's initial unlikability, some further investigation of her life at home can sort of transform her into a more sympathetic character in most players' eyes. You see, she doesn't exactly have the most involved parents. Her mother Saphir and father Amren are constantly bickering about some long-lost family sword he spent much of their fortune trying to recover.
So you're willing to starve your wife and daughter to reclaim some rusty old sword?
I just need to hire 1, maybe 2 good men. You won't starve.
I'll put it plainly. You can claim your sword, or you can keep your wife. If you set foot outside that gate, I won't be here when you return.
Being a sword for hire, Amren's almost never home anyway, and Bret can even be heard begging her father to let her come along on the next adventure he goes on, only to be shot down repeatedly.
Papa, the next time you go away, I want to come with you.
When I go away, I go to war. That's no place for a little girl.
Every knight needs a squire. I can help you with your sword. Things like that.
Nice try, Blossom, but I'm not a knight. I'm a mercenary. The answer's still no. Besides, your mother would miss you too much.
Yeah, right.
And neither of the adults ever seems to have much time for their kid. They both refuse to give her advice on Lars, who she only bullies because she has a crush on.
Papa, I want to talk to you.
What about?
Well, there's this boy and...
Listen, Bret, why don't you talk to your mother about this, okay?
Mother,
What?
I wanted to ask you something. It's about a boy.
Not now, Bret. Go ask your father.
So, with 2 parents constantly at each other's throats, a father who's rarely home, too busy fighting and looking for artifacts, and neither adult being interested in giving her any attention, it's no wonder why Bret has become her antisocial self. Unfortunately, this is one of the few problems in Skyrim the Dovahkiin can't really solve. I mean, you could murder her parents to death and adopt her, but I highly doubt that kind of trauma is somehow going to make her life better. Oh well, at least she'll never be as annoying as Nazim. Next on our list, Skuli is a Nord boy who can be found at the Old Hroldan Inn, which he helps his mother, Idis, run. Now, I'll be the first to admit that this is kinda cheating for me. As while Schoolie certainly comes across as arrogant / overconfident when you initially meet him, he quickly grows on you and shows himself to be a pretty capable kid. And that overconfidence may be justified. When you first find yourself at his inn, Schoolie will greet you in a very mature fashion, which the player can comment on and tell him that he sounds older than he looks. And that will humorously result in the boy telling you to watch your tongue, and letting the Dragonborn know that backtalk isn't tolerated at this business.
Watch your tongue, stranger. We don't take backtalk in this inn.
He'll also go so far as to threaten to kick you out if you drink too much and let it show.
If you drink too much, you're out. No drunks.
Unfortunately, much like Braith, Schoolie's home life isn't the most ideal. While his mother, Idis, by all appearances seems to be a hardworking and kind person, doing her best to raise a child, she has to do it alone. Because her husband, Schoolie's father, a man named Farir, has been out fighting in the Civil War for an undisclosed amount of time. The poor boy can be listened to, asking Idis where his dad is, only for her to vaguely state that he's fighting in the Civil War, and then proceed to get the sides confused.
Mama, where did Papa go?
He's off fighting the war, dear, for the Stormcloaks.
Last time you said he was fighting for the Empire.
Yeah, I'm sure he's doing well there.
So nobody seems to know where he is. However, believe it or not, this is indeed a mystery we can solve. Though, the answer is a bit depressing. It's not related to any quests or something like that, but in Chilwyn Depths, a large Falmer overrun cave on the border of the Reach and Hoffingar, in one of the pens set up by the Snow Elves, the body of a Nord named Farir can be found, and in his inventory, a note, which reads as follows. Quote, "They fell upon us at dusk, dozens of them. The caravan guards were dead in moments. They took everyone else back to the pens, blinded those who tried to resist. One by one they've taken the others away, feeding us to those monstrosities or worse. I don't have much time left. Idis, my love, if you ever get this, forgive me. Signed, Farir." Schoolie's dad isn't off fighting in the war, he's dead. And he wasn't a soldier to begin with, but a caravan guard. Oddly enough, we can't bring this note back to the kid or his mom and inform them of the news, which is rather anticlimactic and a tad depressing. As a bit of a side note, if Idis passes away, Schoolie becomes the new owner and sole proprietor of the Old Hroldan Inn. And he'll even go so far as to continue employing the workers, who will start referring to him as the new boss, and I found that to be quite hilarious. So, despite some unfortunate happenings with his family, it does seem that the kid is a talented one, and bound to become a successful and assertive businessman, no matter the challenges life throws his way. Coming in at number 3, we head back to Whiterun, specifically Dragon's Reach, the Cloud District. A place we do visit often, thank you very much, to meet Dagny. She's one of Jarl Bolgraf the Greater's 3 children, and easily the most spoiled of the bunch. She'll constantly mistake the player for a servant, and can be heard having loud arguments with her brothers, throwing fits about not getting that new dress or sweet roll her father promised her.
I'm so angry I can hardly stand it. Father promised me a new dress days ago. Now where is it?
It takes a while to make a dress, Dagny. You have to be patient.
But I don't want to be patient. I want a dress right now. Father promised.
All you ever do is complain about what you want. You're a spoiled baby.
I'm going to tell Father you said that. He'll tan your hide for sure.
Lucky us, Dagny is a character we don't need to interact with all that much throughout the game, as she plays no part in any quests, nor can a dialogue window so much as even be opened with her. That said, as we've discussed before on this channel, Bethesda had originally intended for her to play a pivotal role in a now cut section of Mephalla's Daedric quest, the Whispering Door, where she and her brothers, under the possession of the Daedric Prince of Lies and Murders, would have killed their father, Bolgraf. It was to be a fairly gruesome affair that, lucky for Jarl B, Bethesda decided not to go through with implementing. Furthermore, speaking of cut content, in the game's files, Dagny also has a pet horse, named Kadrina, that never makes an appearance in the game, though can be spawned in with console commands. No doubt Dagny would have had some whiny things to say about her horse not being properly groomed or something. Oh well, she's got a pretty good guy dad though. So hopefully time will see Dagny straightened out. For 4th spot, speaking of kids in royal courts, Acer is the only son of Winterhold's Jarl Courier. And while his parents seem perfectly proud of him, it's evident they've raised him to harbor some unhelpful prejudices. Courier and his wife / Acer's mother Thea passionately hate both the College of Winterhold and the entirety of Elvenkind altogether. And they really don't seem to try to distinguish between the two. They appear to believe all elves and the college are in cahoots together, or something. Their distrust of mages and myrrh has led the Jarl and his wife to pit just about every problem the city faces on them. Whether it's the aforementioned Great Collapse of Winterhold, or something as ridiculous as poor weather for a single day, it's always the fault of those mages or darn elves. Unfortunately, this attitude has left a great impression on their son, whose favorite game to play with Irid, the only other kid his age in the town, is Hunt the Elf, where she's the elf and he just chases her around. If you speak to her alone, Irid makes it clear that she's not really fond of the game, and doesn't really care much for Acer at all. She calls him mean, and says he hates the college for no reason.
There's not many people left in Winterhold, so I only have Acer to play with. And sometimes he's mean. Acer says his paw says the college makes lots of bad things happen, but the mages I've seen look nice.
Additionally, if you approach Acer while playing as any elven race, there's a chance he'll say this to you.
How come you're in Winterhold? My pa says people like you are the reason no one lives here anymore.
Obviously, the kid has fallen victim to some pretty unfortunate misconceptions. But, like so many of his peers on this list, the problems start with his parents, who, while are very loving, are really teaching their son some unhelpful things. There's an exchange you can overhear between Acer and his father Courier that Bethesda surely put in on purpose, which perfectly represents why the poor kid is developing the prejudices he is. Take a listen.
Irid says the mages at the college are nice people, but you said they're bad.
Irid's a little girl who doesn't understand that they're responsible for destroying our home.
Why did they do that? Why would they be so evil?
Because they don't care about you or I, Cub. They think they're better than all of us, and that we can just be thrown away.
I hate them.
That's my boy.
So, while Acer himself may be quite an irritating character, especially if you're that Irid girl, the real blame seems to lie with Winterhold's crown. And finally, last on our list, Bret is a Nord child living in Rorikstead. And boy oh boy is this kid a bully. Worse than Braith even. Her primary victim is not some boy she has a crush on, but instead her twin sister Sissel, who she seemingly spends all day chasing around and harassing. Additionally, one of the quotes she may say when you speak to Brith is, quote, "If you beat up my sister Sissel, I won't tell." So there's definitely some big dysfunctionality going on here. And as you probably have noticed as a trend by now, the problems start at home. Indeed, Brit's internal hatred seems to stem from some jealousy of Sissel. She says a variety of insecure-sounding statements, where she accuses Sissel of thinking she's better than her, and declaring that since she's older than her little sister by 5 minutes, she's the better person. Sissel also seems to be the recipient of far more attention by Rorikstead settlers. There's a long series of conversations she has with Joanne, where the man chit-chats with her and promises to teach her many things about magic. He does not offer Brit those same services. And lastly, perhaps the most decisive factor in Brit's personality is her horrible father, Lemkill. He's raising, I use that term loosely, the two girls alone, as their mother died during childbirth. But he treats them awfully bad. He speaks ill of his daughters behind their backs, and even mentions getting violent with them. So this is one of those situations where it is kinda hard to blame the girl for acting like the way she is. And unlike with Braith, perhaps the best thing to do here is take out Lemkill and raise the two girls as your own. I mean, sure, you might murder people for a living, but at least you're not gonna hurt them. And who knows, maybe after becoming a part of an actual loving family, Brit will come to her senses and begin to treat her sister with a lot more respect. It's just a theory, But there is only one way to find out for sure. And with that, we are going to wrap up my top 5 annoying children in The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Thanks for watching, everybody. Which of these kids is your most or least favorite? And what irritating individuals have I yet to profile that I definitely should? Leave a comment down below. As always, like ratings are very much appreciated. Again, thanks for stopping by, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Peace out, everyone.